Courage is rightly esteemed the first of human qualities, because it is the quality which guarantees all others. He wrote it as a man who had walked through storms. That line is not a poster, it's a survival rule. Churchill knew that courage wasn't noise or swagger. It was the daily decision to stand again when your knees want to fold. Tonight we're going to take a hard walk through his letters, his speeches, his private notes, the moments when things were darkest, and pull out the kind of lessons that don't make you feel good. They make you strong. Start here. It's 1915. The Dardanelles campaign has failed, and the blame clings to him like smoke that won't wash off. Churchill resigns from the Admiralty. The newspapers carve his name. Old friends fall silent. In a letter to his wife Clementine, he does not posture. He does not pretend this is fine. He writes of the blow. He feels the humiliation no leader ever wants to taste. And then, he makes a move almost no one expected. He decides to go to the front. He doesn't hide behind committees or wait for time to launder his reputation. He chooses a muddy trench over a clean office. I shall go to the front, he tells the world, not with a headline, but with a train ticket. He takes command of a battalion in France, the 6th Royal Scots Fusiliers, trading polished floors for frozen earth. He exchanges status for service. Why does that matter to you now, in a world of polite apologies and carefully crafted statements? Because he shows the rule. When failure brands your skin, don't scrub, don't run, change theaters, earn back your name in reality. Put your hands on the work again, on the ground where the result can't be spun. The lesson here is not self-punishment. It's repair through action. The letter's subtext is fierce. Face the consequence and turn it into competence. Imagine what it felt like, stepping into that trench with your career hanging around your neck like weight. Every footstep says, I'm not done. Every cold morning says, I can become useful again. We like stories where the hero returns to applause. Churchill returned to mud, and in that mud his leadership rewired, not by theory, but by contact with the hardest edges of reality. Here's the modern translation. When your launch flops, when the team doubts you, when you miss the target so badly you can feel your stomach heat, don't vanish. Don't sign up for 1,000 webinars. Go to the front, sit with the customer, write the memo yourself, pick up the phone, get your name dirty with the details. The fastest way out of the shame spiral is to outwork the narrative. If you want the knife of failure to stop twisting, steady your hand on the job itself. Churchill didn't bury himself in excuses. He found renewal in responsibility. But imagine if he had sulked. Imagine if he had chosen bitterness. Britain might have lost the voice it needed most in 1940. That's the price of staying small when life asks you to grow. The letter isn't telling you to love pain. It's telling you to use it. Now, jump forward. December 26, 1941. Churchill stands before the United States Congress days after Pearl Harbor. He is not triumphant. He is clear-eyed. The stakes are total. He speaks like a man who has tried sleep and found it a waste of time. Listen to the grit in his line. We have not journeyed all this way across the centuries because we are made of sugar candy. Sugar candy. The phrase crashes through niceties. He's saying, stop pretending you're fragile. Stop rehearsing your collapse. This is not a season for sentimental language. This is a season for building a spine. He's not telling the world to feel nothing. He's telling the world to feel and go on anyway. That's the second lesson. You're not made of sugar candy. You are not a delicate ornament that must avoid weather. You are weathered oak and fire in the grate. And if you're thinking, easy for him to say, look again. He said it when London's nights were lit by flame. He said it with the knowledge that more ships would sink, more names would be read, more mornings would begin with ash. He still believed we were built to stand. He insisted on it. So in your life, what does that sound like? It sounds like cutting the soft words that let you escape. I can't. It's just too much. Maybe later when I feel ready. He would swat those phrases off the table. He would ask, is the task in front of you necessary? Then do it. Are you worried someone won't like you if you lead? Lead anyway. Sugar candy melts. You are not. You don't have the luxury of dissolving. But he didn't only speak to nations, he also spoke to his team. He wrote to ministers and civil servants with the same clarity he brought to the House. One of his wartime memos carried a title that feels almost like a threat, brevity. And in it, he drops a knife on the fluff. Let us have an end of such phrases as, "It is also of importance to bear in mind the following considerations." Stop padding, stop fogging the room with words. Get to the point. Decide. That's not just a writing tip. It's a leadership ethic. Short words, direct decisions, finite timelines. Action. This day, he stamped in red when something mattered. That stamp meant, cut the ceremony. Do the thing. It's tempting to believe that sophistication equals complexity. Churchill knew the opposite. Clarity is power because clarity can be acted upon. When your day is jammed with padded emails, when your plan is a stack of slogans, you are not serious. Serious people cut. Serious people say what they mean and then they move. So try it. Take your biggest problem and reduce it to a single sentence you can say out loud without choking on jargon. Not because buzzwords are evil, but because they're camouflage. They hide fear. They hide confusion. They make things feel done when nothing has even moved. If you're honest, half the time you're delaying, you're decorating the delay. Churchill stripped it. You can too. But if you think this is all steel and grind, you're missing the other half of his survival. Remember the failures. Remember the nights when doubts whispered. Churchill had a name for his depressive spells, the black dog. He stalked them with a brush. In his essay, Painting as a Pastime, he wrote with surprising lightness, armed with a paint box, one cannot be bored. That sounds quaint until you realize what he's saying. Boredom to him wasn't just a lack of entertainment. It was a doorway for dark thoughts. He didn't wait for mood to rescue him. He built a rescue. He created a second theater where he could move his hands and rest his mind. The brush did something the speech could not. It reset his nervous system. It gave his attention something clean to hold. And that is a secret the modern world keeps selling you. Then snatching back with your phone. You need a hobby that fights for you. Not a distraction that drains you, but a craft that restores you. Lift iron. Plant a garden. Build a model. Learn a piece of music hard enough to make you sweat. Paint. Do something that turns the volume of life down while building you up. That's not indulgence. That's armor. When the day tries to devour you, meet it with more than willpower. Meet it with a practice that renews your willpower. What he meant then still matters now. You can't grind 24/7 and expect to be human. And you can't float 24/7 and expect to be useful. The balance is deliberate. He fought a total war and still sat at an easel by a pond, dabbing at sunlight on water. Not because the war was unimportant. Because he understood that nothing is done well by a depleted mind. He didn't wait for permission. He made time because the work demanded it. Failure, grit, clarity, renewal. These aren't slogans to print on a poster. They are a sequence, a rhythm you can live. Fall down, face it, stand up, harden, cut the fluff, decide, then recover, deliberately, and then go again. Now lean in. There's one more turn in this story. It's 1942. After 3 years of war, with victories that feel like rain in a drought and defeats that wear the face of your friends, Churchill stands after El Alamein and speaks the words that feel like a door opening. This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end. But it is, perhaps, the end of the beginning. Why end with that? Because most of us quit in the middle. We mistake the end of the beginning for the end of the road. We expect life to clap for us once we survive the first act. It won't. The second act is hard. The third act is harder. You still go. That's the rule. You do not get a smooth path. You get a path worth walking. Picture his office at midnight. The maps hum under lamps. Files sprawl like paper fortresses. Outside, the city breathes smoke. He leans over a draft, crosses out a sentence, writes it stronger. He pauses, pours a small measure, stares at a painting drying in the corner. Just blue sky and a bit of hedge. He breathes. He goes back to the line. He will speak it in the morning. He will mean it. And then he will take another step. So, what do you do with this? You take his letters and ask, where's the front in my life? You take his speech and ask, where am I pretending I'm sugar candy? You take his memo and ask, where am I hiding behind words? You take his easel and ask, what honest craft will help me keep my balance? You take his wartime turn of phrase and ask, am I quitting at the end of the beginning? There's a quieter, more personal scene we forget. After Gallipoli, when he felt finished, he would get up before dawn and ride. Cold rains, breath in the air, hooves counting the ground. Why mention it? Because sometimes leadership begins when no one is watching. Sometimes your reputation is repaired in sentences no one will ever read, in choices no one will ever post. He rode because motion beats rumination. He painted because color beats rumination. He led again because duty beats rumination. It's the same for you. And when people say, you don't understand my situation, it's different. Listen. They are not wrong. Every life has edges no one else sees. But courage doesn't need your life to look like his. It needs your life to let it in. Courage doesn't ask for an era. It asks for a day. And if it can have that day, it will build the next one with you. You can almost hear him in your doorway. Coat on, hat in hand, that half smile that says, stop complaining, start moving. He'd point to your desk and say, clear this. He'd point to your calendar and say, keep that promise. He'd point to your excuses and say, end of that. Then he'd point to the window, to the tree swinging in the dark and say, take a walk and come back with a plan you can say in 10 words. This is how you lead a life that can take a hit. You turn the hit into muscle. You take the muscle and apply it to something that matters. And you guard the muscle with rest and craft. Then you repeat. You do not make your life sentimental. You make it sturdy. Plenty of people will sell you inspiration. Churchill didn't sell it. He lived it until it hurt, and then he lived it some more. Quick question. Which of Churchill's lines hits you hardest right now? Drop it below. And if this kind of dark, disciplined motivation helps you, tap like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Let's go back to that trench. It's night. The frost bites through the coat. You can hear distant fire and closer breathing. A colonel with the weight of a nation's laughter on his shoulders checks a line of men who don't care about politics. They care about whether he knows their names. He does. He cares whether their boots are dry. He checks. Leadership is local before it's national. It's personal before it's public. If you can't carry weight for 5 people, you'll drop it for 5,000. And back to the Congress that winter. The applause is long, but applause doesn't patch a hull or fill a ration tin. He knew words had to be followed by ships, and ships by plans, and plans by courage. You can stack words as high as the ceiling and still do nothing. Or you can speak a word like a hammer and then swing it. Give us the tools and we will finish the job, he said in another broadcast that year. Tools are not metaphors. They are things you pick up. What are your tools? A schedule that protects deep work from shallow noise. A body that can handle stress without folding. A few people you can call at midnight and tell the truth to. A craft that makes you whole when the day takes too much. A single clear sentence about what you're building and why. That's not romance. That's the kit you carry through a long war against your own drift. When he wrote Brevity, he wasn't being fussy about grammar. He was attacking confusion because confusion wastes lives. In our world, it wastes years. The meeting that goes nowhere. The deck that says everything and nothing. The email that pretends to work. Cut it. You don't need cruel edges to be firm. You need firm edges to be kind. Clarity is a form of care. And the painting, don't miss the courage in that too. To be a beginner in public life is rare. He risked ridicule to try. He risked a mess on canvas to calm a mess in his head. You can risk 30 minutes to protect your strength. You can risk being bad at something that makes you better at everything else. Armed with a paint box, one cannot be bored. Armed with a barbell, a piano, a garden trowel, a sketchbook, you cannot be consumed. Before we close, hear the cadence he would want you to keep. It is not, go fast and burn out. It's not, go slow and never arrive. It's, move with force and recover with purpose. Say the hard thing simply. Do the hard thing promptly. Endure long enough to see the work become worthy of the pain you paid for it. And when the day ends and it wasn't enough, when you did it all and the result still stings, he would lean back, take the blow with you, and then say it with that dry edge. KBO. Keep buggering on. Not as a joke, as a permission. You don't need to feel heroic to be heroic. You need to keep going. This is not the end. It is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. Let that line be your bridge from discouragement to the next honest step. Take it tonight. Stand somewhere you're embarrassed. Write something you've been avoiding. Cut a sentence until the truth remains. Pick up a tool that steadies you. And remember, you are not made of sugar candy. You are made of sterner stuff. You have work to do, and the night won't last forever. So take the lesson from the letter, from the speech, from the memo, from the easel, and walk. The road is dark. The road is yours. The courage to continue will guarantee the rest.